Welcome, you guys, to Engaged Citizens. I am your host, Sharrie Ryan, and I am speaking to Columbia County Sheriff Brian Pixley, and he is seeking re-election in November. I'm so glad you're here with us. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk.
Yes. Oh my goodness. The first and most, important question: why are you running for re-election, Brian?
So this actually kind of goes back to why did I want to become a cop in the first place, I guess. So I grew up in Southeast Portland. I lived on 129th Division. I think I want to say first, second grade-ish time frame. My parents got me this little cowboy sheriff outfit, badge,
Awesome.
holster, little six-shooter, the whole ball of wax. And I proceeded to march out to 129th, straight out to Southeast Division, where I began to direct traffic until my mom caught me and put an epic butt whooping on me. But it still didn't sway me. I still wanted to be a cop. So
That's awesome. I love that. I love it.
So, when I first got hired at the sheriff's office in I guess 2003, I've been reminded of this. I don't recall saying this, but I've been reminded several times that when they asked me what my long-term goal was, I told them then that I wanted to be the sheriff. So that kind of takes me where I am now. I truly believe that when it comes to leading an effective law enforcement agency in a jail in a county our size, experience really does matter. I have over 19 years of local law enforcement experience, service, and training that's providing me with the tools necessary to not only do the job, but to do it right. I'm the only candidate with local law enforcement, with law enforcement leadership experience, excuse me. This includes 5 years as a sergeant and a lieutenant and the last 3.5 years as your Columbia County Sheriff. I'm the only candidate with the experience, certification, and training in jail operations. I am the only candidate with executive level certifications and top tier law enforcement experience. And I truly have dedicated my entire career to serving effectively as your sheriff, as what I'm doing now. My campaign is really built on 3 basic core values. It's keeping you safe, serving the people, and integrity and leadership. I truly believe that safe communities are thriving communities, right? I have been championing efforts to obtain staffing for 24/7 coverage for several years now, for at least 3.5 years. And I will continue to fight to help ensure that you, your property, and your rights are protected 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Serving the people is truly a cornerstone of who I am as an individual and as a leader. I will continue to dedicate both my personal and professional time to doing the things that increase trust, build goodwill, and strengthen our communities. And I think one of the most important things is I truly believe that integrity starts at the very top. I have always, and I will continue to hold both myself and my staff to high standards. And I will continue to demand excellence in everything that we do. So I guess in short, really, it's experience, safety, service, and integrity. That's what I bring to the table as your sheriff. That's why I'm asking to be reelected.
Great. I really love the story of the directing traffic on a really, really busy Portland major road.
But I can still feel the butt whooping that I got that day.
You'll never forget that. Well, Brian, you've done some amazing, things in your tenure as the sheriff in Columbia County. You've been an integral part of implementing some really, powerful programs. You've got, the Hometown Heroes, which is sending care packages and support to our hometown heroes that are serving abroad, which I think is just so special to do for our community. The BOLA Wrap program, which I didn't know what this was until you explained it to me. It's not in every community, so it's not very common. And you help bring this to our community, and it helps make arrests safer. I will post some stuff about what that is. And then you were talking about the cell extraction program, which is special training to extract those combative inmates in their cells safely, and also to go to court where there's maybe some high risk different things going on in those courtrooms. But I wanted to ask you about some of the ones that I don't know as much about, and that was the drone program and also the Bridge the Gap programs.
Okay, so let's start with the Bridge the Gap program, if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
So back in 2019, my leadership team and I began brainstorming ways in which we can assist inmates who are being released out of the jail to be more successful with their reintegration back into the community. So out of that brainstorming session, the Bridge the Gap program was developed, and it is directly there to address those concerns and to intervene in that cycle of criminality and assist those inmates who are being released to get the services that they need when they get released from custody. Some of these wraparound services include things like mental health care connections to other community resources like the community action team, adult family services, parole and probation. We actually have a team that works inside the jail who interviews inmates who are going to get released, and one, to figure out if they want to participate in the program, but two, to kind of figure out where they've been having problems with, and so we can help address those barriers and get them over those barriers. And then once they're released, we actually have a volunteer team that will come pick them up from the jail. They'll take them to the CCMH or the parole and probation office or to adult and family services.
Wow.
And kind of help them get those wraparound services started. So they're not doing this alone. They're not having to kind of try to navigate the system by themselves. They have someone who's trained and experienced in how to get those programs really going.
Yeah. Because like you were telling me, some people have been, they've been in jail for 1 to 4 years, some of them. And I didn't know that. So, integrating back into society can be really challenging.
Correct.
So that's a great program.
Yeah. So the other thing is the drone program that you're asking me about.
Yeah.
So the drone program, why we started that was really kind of out of necessity. So a couple of years ago, Scappoose Fire and the Oregon State Police both got drones for their own capacities, but we're able to utilize them from time to time in things like search and rescues or high risk search warrants, or if we're looking for someone and they flee the scene of a car stop or they flee a house, we can kind of get that bird's eye view. And what we were running into was, although Scappoose Fire and the Oregon State Police were willing to help out, we were really kind of tied to their schedule and to their response times. So
you needed your own.
Correct. Really, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So
you're like, we need our own.
Yeah. So I worked with one of our reserve deputies. We researched what a drone program would look like for a law enforcement agency. We wrote policy, created a training program, and then we got the drone program launched back in October of 2021, so last year. Cool. We have been able to deploy it several times, both in criminal capacities and in search and rescue capacities. We currently have 2 trained and certified deputies who are drone operators, and we have 2 more going through the certification process. So that'll be really good to get on board. My goal is to have a certified deputy with a drone in the trunk of their car on duty every shift. So if something happens, they can just go to the scene, throw it up in the air, and get going.
Very cool. Very cool. Those drones are awesome.
Yeah, they are.
I bet they're like way more high speed and better than my son's. So,
yes, OSP and Scappoose Fire for sure. We just kind of have the cheaper end models because we're trying to get this program up and running. But we're kind of, so we're doing it the right way, but we're doing it kind of slower than everyone else.
Very cool. So you're talking about also the 24, you've been advocating for the 24-hour policing since you've been a sheriff. And so can you kind of give us an update as to where that's at, what kind of obstacles you might be running into, and kind of where you see maybe the blind spots or the holes?
Yeah. So like you said, I've been advocating for this for the past several years now. And I truly believe the key to getting this going is to have a good working relationship and partnership with the Board of County Commissioners. I think in order for them to truly fund us where we need to be funded, they need to see the need, not only need to see the need, but they need to feel the need. They need to be invested in that program, I guess.
Yeah.
Every year we've been able to add FTEs, typically 1 FTE per year. I asked for 2 every year, but we typically receive 1, except for this next fiscal year where they were only able to give us 0.5 FTE. They gave me that. I was really scratching my head trying to figure out how we can best utilize that and not waste the money.
Yeah.
So I actually spoke with the city of Vernonia, and we have augmented our current partial policing contract with them, and we're able to add. They're going to fund the other half of that 0.5 FTE, which will give us 2 deputies stationed in that typically underserved Nehalem Valley. So we'll have a law enforcement presence out there 7 days a week. And then they can also assist Vernonia with calls for service and with patrolling the city. So I think that's just a win-win for both Columbia County and the city of Vernonia.
Yeah, and out there, like up the Vernonia Highway, Scott Post Vernonia Highway, where,
Yeah, Miss
is kind of out
Birkenfeld.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah.
So,
Well, that's
um,
great.
yeah, so I've talked to the commissioners about funding it, and I told them in order to hit that magic 24/7 policing coverage, we need an additional about $725,000 per year. Like I
Okay.
said, and I know they can't just write me a check for $725 a year. That's too much to ask for anyone.
Yeah,
So that's why I'm asking for those 2 deputies per year. And if I only get one, that's still one closer than we were. So that's still
yeah,
a step forward.
yeah.
Um,
Very cool.
so I want to say in 2020, 2021, late 20, early 21, I actually pulled
Mhm.
all the sheriffs across the state of Oregon, the 36 sheriffs across the state of Oregon,
Yeah,
and asked them one simple question: what percentage of the general fund does your sheriff's office receive from your county commissioners?
yeah.
I received responses from, I think, 14 or 15 sheriffs.
Hmm.
But of those 14 or 15 sheriffs, they were averaging between, I'd say on the low end, 27% of the general fund to the kind of average end was closer to mid 30s, 33 to 35% of the general fund.
Okay.
And then I called our county finance office and just asked them what percentage of the general fund does the sheriff's office receive from Columbia County?
Yeah.
I believe it was 14% of the
Okay.
general fund that we get for law enforcement here in Columbia County, which
Wow.
for me is woefully underfunded.
Hmm.
Um, I'm one of those people that truly believe that a safe community is a thriving community.
Hmm. Hmm.
So if once we're able to really bolster our public safety, I think that will actually increase our tax base,
Yeah.
attract other small business owners from across the state to actually come here and set up shop. And the ones we currently have here in town or in the county, I think it'll encourage them to expand because we will have
Yeah.
safer streets.
Yeah. It just is it's a win-win for everyone in the community
It is.
when
It
we
is.
have safer community. So,
Yeah.
okay, that's cool. I have a quote and I want to read.
Okay.
And this is from the open letter that you sent to Kate Brown, to our governor. You said the citizens of Columbia County will choose to wear a mask or choose not to wear a mask. We will choose to get vaccinated or choose not to get vaccinated. But we will do so as individuals with free will over our own bodies. And I, as sheriff, will fight for and support the residents of Columbia County in this endeavor. When you wrote that, can you tell us a little bit about the feedback you got and what happened after that?
I got a lot of feedback from that. Luckily,
Of course, it's a hot
luck,
topic.
right? Luckily, the
Yeah,
vast majority was very positive, both from residents within Columbia County, residents within the state of Oregon. But I was surprised. I was getting calls from people across the country who were thanking me for such the strong stance.
wow.
And I did that because I truly believe that the people of, I guess I got tired of seeing our small county starting to die.
Yeah,
And that really kind of is what prompted me to write the letter.
yeah.
Um,
Wow.
and I'm a
And did
true,
you
I'm
ever
a
hear
true,
from Did you ever hear from Kate Brown? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
okay. Personally, I did not.
Okay.
She did, however, personally reach out to the lobbyist for the Oregon State Sheriff's Association a week and a half or so after writing the letter and
Mm.
expressed her extreme displeasure and frustration with the fact that I wrote the letter. So I know that she saw it. I know that she got it. I know that she
She
received the
heard about
message.
it.
She did. She did.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'm just thankful for you to stand up for, personal decision, for the residents of Columbia County.
Yeah, and
So thank you.
well, you're welcome. But the thing I found was funny is some of the feedback I got were people saying, "Well, obviously you must be an anti-vaxxer, Brian." And
Hmm.
I'm like, "Well, no, quite to the contrary." They're like, "Well, how can you not be an anti-vaxxer and write that letter?" And I said,
Yeah.
"Well, just for your own personal reference, I have received the full dose for the COVID vaccination and I got boosted. Um, I truly wrote that letter out of a place of personal choice. And that's what what I want to support. And that's what I want to fight for.
That's great. I know that you're familiar with the group, RAIN, which is the Restore Election Integrity Network here in Columbia County. They are the voter integrity group. They reached out to me and they asked me to ask you a question. This is regarding voter reform and voter integrity in our community. And they had said that, they had sent you some data, they had sent you some reports where they have been canvassing in our community. And they even canvassed the sheriff's office and found discrepancies in our community. What do you think about that?
So the group did send me some information. They have received a half dozen emails from them over the past 6 months or so regarding potential voter fraud within Columbia County. And I believe the number of the studies that the canvassing efforts, I guess, that they sent me showed about a 44 to 46% voter. I don't know if you want to say voter fraud, but potential voter fraud. And that was, for me, that was alarming enough that I definitely want to look into it. I'm going to look into it. And I've started looking into it. I actually had the elections manager, Don Clack, for Columbia County, send me some information based upon the emails that I received and the information that I received. I've not had a chance to go through those yet, but that's on my short list of things to do. Because we need to figure out how we can ensure that we get this shored up, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
And as far as within the sheriff's office, I think part of the big issue why we have voter discrepancies in the sheriff's office is because the inmate population of the county jail is a very transient group of people, right? They come and they go. I think the average length of stay for an inmate currently is, I want to say, I don't have the study in front of me, the numbers in front of me, but it's about 25 days.
Okay.
And then you have these people who are sentenced to a couple of weeks or whatever around voter time. Oftentimes they'll have their or if they're expecting the sentence coming up, they'll have their voter registration changed to the sheriff's office, or if they're there for an extended period of time, they'll have their voter registration changed to the sheriff's office so they can actually receive their ballot. And I think once they leave, that just never gets taken off the books. I'm sure it's that way probably across the state.
Okay. And so that's great that you listen to the community, and I really appreciate that about you. I know that they told me like they're going to be sending you more stuff. So
stand by to stand by.
Just stand by. And then one last question I wanted to ask you was about the DPSST.
Yes.
And you were telling me
safety standards and training.
Yes. And what was kind of your opinion about that, about the training and stuff?
So I think first of all, I need to say I'm very happy with the level of training that DPSST provides. They provide a very good source of both basic training and advanced level training throughout the state of Oregon, which is really good. I think my big question, my big concern is the fact that they gear their basic, whether it's police class or corrections class, to someone with zero police experience. So someone who's working at their Walmart greeter or Fred Meyer's greeter on Friday, and they become a cop on Monday. And that's truly who DPSSD gears that level of training towards.
Okay.
I would like to see the individual agencies, kind of take more of the onus on themselves to instill those basic level of training into their recruits before they're sent to the academy. That way, the academy can focus on the higher liability issues, the use of force, the firearm instruction, defensive tactics, and different ways that they can increase the safety for the officers or the deputies as they come out.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So, Brian, I just want to thank you so much for your time and taking the time to answer these questions that some people have sent me, and that, they want to know these things. And I just wanted to put out there that we will be having a forum and that your opponent will be invited to that forum. And so we look forward to hearing from you and seeing you, and we wish you luck.
Well,
Good
thank
luck.
you. I will be there regardless. So I appreciate that offer, and I appreciate you taking the time to come out and interview me about some of these things that are really important to me. So
awesome. Thank you so much, Brian. You take care.
Thank you. You too.